In the winter of 1981, the Midwest Institute for Psychiatric Research initiated Project Vision Sight, a groundbreaking study exploring the relationship between visual stimuli and mental stability. 8 volunteers were selected from Nebraska's prison population, all serving sentences for nonviolent offenses, with the promise of reduced sentences upon completion. The research team consisted of 5 psychiatrists, led by Dr. Jensen, a pioneer in visual psychology, whose earlier work on pattern recognition in children had earned international recognition. The facility chosen was a decommissioned military bunker in the isolated Sand Hills region of Nebraska. The location provided both the isolation required for uninterrupted research and the security necessary given the experimental nature of the project. What follows is a transcript of recordings and notes recovered from the site after the accident. Methodology. The experiment aimed to test the effects of special visual stimuli on the human mind over extended viewing periods. Subjects were to be exposed to a variety of curated visual content for 16 hours per day, with 8 hours allocated for sleep, meals, and basic hygiene. The initial protocol scheduled the experiment to run for 30 days. The visual content began with neutral imagery, landscapes, geometric patterns, and abstract art to establish baseline responses. Gradually, the content would shift to include subliminal elements designed to measure subconscious reaction. All subjects underwent comprehensive psychological evaluation prior to selection, with results indicating normal mental stability. None had histories of hallucinations, schizophrenia, or severe mental disorders. Days 1 through 3, initial observations. The experiment commenced as planned. Subjects were placed in individual monitoring rooms, equipped with projection systems and one-way observation glass. The first 3 days proceeded without incident. Subjects showed expected fatigue from extended viewing, but maintained normal conversations during meal periods. Sleep patterns remained within acceptable parameters. Dr. Jensen noted, "Subject compliance is excellent. Initial concerns about boredom affecting results appear unfounded. The gradual introduction of subliminal content, beginning tomorrow, should provide our first meaningful data points." Day 6. First anomaly. At approximately 0300 hours, visibly exhausted from the first 6 days of essentially non-stop viewing, Subject 5 reported seeing something unexpected in the visual feed, describing what appeared to be a large, lumbering creature with a hanging trunk-like nose, moving in the background of an otherwise empty forest scene from a nature show. Review of the footage showed no such figure. The subject was temporarily removed from the visual feed and given a supplementary psychological evaluation, which revealed no abnormalities. He was returned to the protocol after a 6-hour rest period. Dr. Jensen's notes indicated that there was a possible hallucination from Subject 5, though his insistence on the reality of what he saw is troubling. He described the figure as elephant-like, but walking on 2 legs and covered in long, shaggy fur. Curious that his mind would construct such a specific image. Day 8. Spreading phenomenon. By the 8th day, 3 subjects, 5, 2, and 8, had independently reported seeing the same figure. Descriptions remained consistent. A large bipedal creature with shaggy fur and a trunk-like appendage. Subjects began referring to it as the Big Shadow. More concerning, Subject 5 now claimed the figure was watching him specifically, pressing against the edge of the projection, as if trying to get through. Sleep quality among all subjects deteriorated markedly. EEG recordings showed increased activity in the temporal and occipital lobes, even during rest periods. Dr. Anderson, a project psychologist, noted, "The consistency between subject descriptions cannot be coincidental. Either we have a shared hallucination developing, or some unintended content has entered the visual field. Technical teams report no anomalies in the system." Day 10. Escalation. Subject 8 became hysterical during breakfast, claiming the creature had spoken to him during the night. When asked what it said, he refused to answer, only repeating, "He knows we can see him now." That evening, Subject 2 began pounding at the observation glass until his fist bled. When restrained, he explained he was trying to let it in because it needs to come through. Dr. Jensen ordered a complete system diagnostic and full review of all visual content. Results showed no irregularities or unauthorized imagery. Despite mounting concern, the research team voted to continue with enhanced monitoring. Day 12. The naming. During group discussion, Subject 1, who had previously shown no symptoms, suddenly referred to the creature as Snuffleupagus, a creature from the popular children's program Sesame Street. When questioned about the name, Subject 1 became confused and denied using it, despite clear audio recording of the incident. More disturbing, all subjects now reported seeing the figure not just during the visual feeds, but in the corners of their rooms, in reflective surfaces, and during sleep. Notes from Dr. Jensen's personal journal at this point said, "I must document this privately. Last night while reviewing footage, I glimpsed something in the background of the monitoring feed. A massive brown shape moving behind Subject 4. When I rewound the tape, nothing was there. I'm beginning to question my own perception." Day 15. Contamination. Security Officer Hansen reported that multiple research staff had begun discussing dreams involving a large, trunk-nosed creature watching them sleep. 2 technicians requested transfer off the project, citing insomnia and anxiety. Subject 5 was found unresponsive during morning check, staring at the ceiling with dilated pupils. When revived, he spoke in a monotone voice. "Walls are thinning." Dr. Nielsen, a medical officer, documented rapidly declining physical condition in all subjects, despite no change in diet or environment. Unexplained bruising appeared on their arms and torsos, which subjects universally attributed to it grabbing us while we sleep. Day 18. Breach. At 02:14 hours, the power to the facility temporarily failed. Emergency generators activated within 40 seconds, but during the brief darkness, all subjects began screaming simultaneously. When lights returned, Subject 2 and Subject 7 had smashed their faces against the wall so hard that their foreheads and eyes were just a bloody pulp. Through their blood-streaked mouths, both smiled and said in unison, "Now I see him better." Subject 8 was discovered missing from his room. Review of security footage showed his door remained locked from the outside with no evidence of how he escaped. A facility-wide search yielded no results. Dr. Jensen ordered immediate termination of the experiment, but communications to outside authorities failed. The severe blizzard that had been building for days had cut off the facility completely. Day 20. Collapse. The following is from the final recording found in the facility's main laboratory. This will likely be our final documentation of Project Vision Sight. Most of the research team is either missing or compromised. The subjects have all escaped containment. We barricaded ourselves in the main lab, but I don't believe it will hold. We've determined that the phenomenon is spreading through eye contact. Once you've seen it, you become a conduit. Subject 8's body was found in the ventilation system, though how he accessed it remains unexplained. His eyes were changed. The paraorbital region around his eyes had somehow stretched into almost trunk-like shapes. I must document what we've learned. The entity the subjects call the Snuffleupagus appears to be some form of mimetic virus spreading through visual recognition. It began as hallucination, but has manifested increasingly physical effects. Those affected in later stages claim it has always existed in human perception, hiding just at the edge of vision. Our experiment somehow thinned the barrier that kept it concealed. You must understand, don't look for it. If you know its name, you're already vulnerable. It gains strength through awareness.
Dr. Jensen, please open the door. Subject 8 has returned.
That's impossible. We found Subject 8's body 3 hours ago. God, it's coming through the observation window. It's enormous. And the eyes. Aftermath. The U.S. government has officially denied any knowledge of Project Vision Site. The Nebraska facility was demolished in 1982, cited for structural concerns. All 8 test subjects remain listed as deceased due to complications from pre-existing conditions. 5 cases of unexpected suicide occurred among cleanup personnel assigned to the site, all displaying the same pattern: the destruction of their eyes, followed by carving a crude trunk-like symbol into their foreheads. Periodic reports emerge from psychiatric institutions across the Midwest, describing patients who obsessively draw large, shaggy figures with elongated noses. These cases are typically classified and treated with aggressive memory suppression therapy. A peculiar postscript: children's television programming throughout the United States underwent significant content review in 1982 and 1983. Several puppet-based characters were quietly modified, without public explanation. Addendum: the following was recovered from a damaged tape labeled Subject 8 Final Interview, though records indicate Subject 8 was deceased before any final interview could take place.
Can you describe what you're seeing now?
You still just think he's in our heads, don't you? Children see him, but adults forget. That's why they created him for the show. He's a memory we're not supposed to have. He's standing behind you now. He's so much bigger than they made him on TV. The experiment didn't create him. It just reminded us. Every time we think about it, he gets closer to fully crossing over. Every person who hears his name creates another tear. Ask yourself, why did they make him invisible to adults on the show? Why did they eventually change it so adults could see him too? They were preparing us, making us ready for when he finally arrives, for everyone.